All right, guys, we're finally back. Every single time I disappear, it always happens. Something always brings me back, whether it's, people talking on the internet or I see a bunch of comments on a bunch of movies and stuff like that. There's always something that tends to drag me back every single time. But yeah, here we are. What brings me back this time is obviously the Michael movie. We're here to talk about Michael. And honestly, this movie has been getting glazed like it's freaking the best movie ever, and it's, you know, everybody's like, oh, Jafar Jackson, he needs an Oscar and this and that and blah 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 blah. All right, listen, I've seen this movie probably like 3 or 4 times at this point up to today, and it's obviously out on DVD now. Everybody's, you can watch it wherever now. It's out of theaters. Maybe it's still in theaters some places, but the amount of glaze that this movie is getting, yeah, we need to have an honest discussion. This movie is not that good, bro. And this from coming from someone that I thought that movie was pretty good. And I'm not gonna go into talking about, oh, this actor, that actor played by this person. I'm not analytical like that. I'm just talking to you the same way your friend, your brother, whoever will talk to you after they saw the movie. And basically, I thought that this movie was really good up until the end. Like the whole movie, I'm like, yo, this movie is really darn good. As soon as the credits started rolling, it killed it for me. It was like, and the more it settled in, it just was terrible. Like the way it ended, it just feels like half of a movie. It doesn't feel like a full movie. And I get it. I know some people are gonna say, oh, but they're making a second movie or blah blah. Yeah, I get that. But you shouldn't have to have made a second movie. You should just told a full story in the first movie. It shouldn't have felt like a half a movie. It feels like the best way I explain it, this is how I've told it to like friends, almost like if they made a Batman movie and it was about his origin story or whatever, and they tell you the story about how when he was a little kid and they killed his mom and dad in the alleyway, and he trained all his life to become Batman or whatever, and then the moment he puts on the suit, the movie just ends. That's literally what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a Batman movie. It doesn't feel like a Michael movie. It sounds like a precursor to that movie. This is really a Jackson 5 movie. It's not a Michael movie. And obviously, this movie was made by the Michael estate. So obviously, and his sister didn't like it. The daughter didn't like it. So this is a movie really about the Jackson 5. They're the ones who made this movie. But the amount of glaze that this movie is getting about Oscar potential and all this kind of stuff, bro, this movie is not that good. Not even close. You want to see an Oscar-worthy movie or even close to that, go watch Obsession. That movie is actually probably the best movie out so far this year. And I'll probably make a video on that. But the Mike movie is not that great. You got freaking Jafar Jackson over here posting on his story and in Instagram like this guy actually thinks he's Michael Jackson. Like he doesn't think he's Jafar Jackson playing his uncle. He thinks he's actually Michael Jackson. And trust me, bro, you're not Michael, bro. This guy does not have a single picture of the real Michael Jackson on his Instagram page, nor a picture of him with Michael Jackson when he was young, but is filled with pictures of him as Michael and continues to post videos of him dancing, videos of him, being Mike. Bro, you're not Michael, bro. He doesn't have, and I know what y'all say. I know y'all haters good, bro. Y'all are gonna say, oh, it's his nephew and whatever and blah blah. Bro, I don't care if that's his nephew. You're telling me it took you 2 years to train on how to pretend to be your own uncle, bro, and you don't have a single picture of your uncle in your entire Instagram post, in your entire Instagram page, but yeah, you keep posting shit like you're Michael. Bro, this guy thinks he's Michael so bad, and it's been killing the movie for me even more. And the fact that people are like, oh, get Jafar Jackson an Oscar, he was so good as Michael, blah blah blah. Bro, he was decent as Michael. My thing with the Michael movie is that, as specifically Jafar Jackson's performance, is that he did good. He was decent. He was a good Michael. But there was nothing special about his performance. He didn't do nothing that I was like, yo, this is an Oscar-worthy performance. If y'all are going to say that he should get an Oscar because he was really good as Michael, should we just give an Oscar to anybody who does any biopic? No, we shouldn't, because that's not how it works. But his performance was decent. But how can you say it's an Oscar-worthy performance when it wasn't even the best performance in the film? I can sit here right now and tell you with a straight face that the dad in the movie, he was the best actor in the film. By far, and it's not even close. Jafar Jackson was not the best actor in the Michael movie. It was 100% the dad. Every time he was on screen, you felt his presence. You felt the thing and that's the problem with the Michael movie. When you're watching the dad, you feel like you're watching the dad. You feel like you're watching the story. You don't feel like you're watching an actor play him. Whenever you see Jafar Jackson in the movie, you don't feel like you're watching Michael. He doesn't drag you into the story. You know that it's Jafar Jackson. You know that it's an actor playing Michael. He doesn't really. Yes, he's kind of like portrays Michael a little bit, but you don't ever feel like you're watching Michael. You feel like you're watching Jafar Jackson play Michael. He had a decent performance, but it was nothing to write home about. Wasn't the best actor in the movie. So everyone glazing Jafar Jackson, talking about, oh, we need to get him on tour. We need to do this. If y'all really think that, you know, a lot of people were also saying, oh, well, Jafar Jackson also sang in the movie, that was his actual vocals. If y'all think that Michael Jackson was actually not that special, that his own nephew could just mimic his voice flawlessly, then maybe Michael Jackson wasn't all that special. And that's what I'm saying. This dude actually thinks he's Michael Jackson, and these people are trying to gas him up like he had this Oscar worthy crazy ass performance, which it was not. There was nothing special about Jafar Jackson's performance. And I'll take all of y'all down in the comments if y'all want to blame me, because I know. And here's the thing, here's the biggest problem with the Michael movie. The biggest problem is that Michael Jackson had a huge following. Given that he had such a huge following, everybody thinks that this movie is beyond criticism. You're not allowed to criticize this movie because it's based on Michael Jackson, who died and has a massive following. If you say anything bad about this movie, you're just a Michael Jackson hater, and you're just a Jafar Jackson hater. Objective people, you can be objective about this movie and actually criticize it. Just because it's a Michael movie doesn't mean it's beyond criticism. And Jafar Jackson wasn't all that great as Michael. He did okay. He was all right. He was good. He did good enough for the movie. I'm not saying that I could do better, because I'm not an actor. When you try to put that label of saying that he was an Oscar worthy, he deserves an Oscar for that performance, let's be real. If anybody deserves an Oscar for that movie, is, now I remember his name, Coleman Domingo. Coleman Domingo, as the dad, is the only person in this film that deserves an Oscar, and I think he will get a supporting actor nomination, as he should. But he's the only actor in this film that deserves it. If you're saying that he was good, Oscar worthy, just because he played a historical figure, then I guess any actor should just pick a historical biopic to get an Oscar. Hey, if you play a historical figure, you're gonna get an Oscar just because you're similar to him. You know what I mean? So, and then all these people talking about, oh, Jafar Jackson actually sung. Bro, have y'all never heard of mixing? And everybody's like, oh, he looks just like him, like uncle, like nephew. Bro, do you guys have any idea how much prosthetics and facial prosthetics this man has on his face? He looks nothing like Michael. He doesn't sound anything like Michael. He's not Michael Jackson. And the fact that y'all are gassing him up so much, saying that he's Michael, he looks like Michael, he sounds like Michael, is the reason this guy thinks he's Michael so much. He's not Michael. He'll never be Michael. There'll never be another Michael, because Michael is so unique. And you take it disrespectful for me saying that he'll never be Michael, that means that you don't think all that highly of Michael Jackson, to be honest with you. Because if you think that anyone could just imitate Michael Jackson just like that, then maybe Michael Jackson wasn't all that special. I hate to break it to you, but obviously we know that he was. So by that logic, like I said, Coleman Domingo deserves an Oscar, a supporting actor role, Oscar for his performance as Joe Jackson, 100%. Once again, this movie is not about Michael Jackson. They shouldn't have called it Michael Jackson. They should have called it Jackson 5. I mean, I think that's really what it's about. And I know they're gonna make a second movie. We'll wonder what it's gonna be about. And I know everybody in the comments and everybody that's, you know, apologists and defenders of this movie are gonna be like, oh, well, the rest of the story's in the second movie and it's a two-parter. Bro, it shouldn't have to been a two-parter. How, as I said before, it feels like half a movie. I kid you not. I was in the theater the first time I watched it, and I was sitting in there, and I was like, yo, this is a really good movie. And then he starts singing the bad performance at the end. And as soon as the credits rolled, I was like, what the hell? Like, I literally thought, that's it? It literally felt like it was in the middle of the movie. This is not a complete movie. It's not as good as people are making it out to seem. And we need to have a serious conversation about, you know, the fact that Jafar Jackson wasn't as great as people are making it out to seem. And once again, these Michael Jackson fans are doing way too much, bro. Y'all are doing the most. And I'm talking to you. You Michael Jackson fan that you went in the theater and you were dancing and doing all this extra shit, bro. Y'all are doing way too much, bro. I get it, bro. You're a Michael Jackson fan, and everybody's talking bro. First of all, and I don't want to go on a rant right now, but first of all, how can you call yourself a Michael Jackson fan? Half the people that were actual fans that saw him perform live and all these people were like 50, 60 years old now. You're not fucking 19, 20 years old talking about you're a Michael Jackson fan. You may like his music. You may like his music for sure. You know, I like music of people that were before my time for sure too, but that doesn't make me a fan. You're not a Michael Jackson fan just because you dress up like in your Halloween costume and dance around and do all this extra shit. You're not a Michael Jackson fan. Let's say someone was 15 years old and Michael Jackson's last live performance, they would be like in their mid 30s, 40s now, bro. You're not 20 years old going to movie theater dancing around talking about you're a Michael Jackson fan, bro. You're not a Michael Jackson fan. You like his music. There's a difference. There's a difference between liking the music and being a real Michael Jackson fan. You didn't see him live. You didn't do all this shit. So all these people talking about, oh my God, how am I supposed to be okay after watching this movie? Oh my God, I cried during the movie and blah, 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 and all this bullshit. Bro, you're not... You cried over a person who you didn't watch when they were alive? What? So you're telling me you don't know how you're supposed to be okay after watching a movie off of someone you've never seen in real life? How does that make sense? So you're telling me that you were breath taken away by watching a movie about someone who you never saw live? Unless you're 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old saying this, I don't want to hear it, bro. I could see someone who was like in their mid 50s or 60s like, oh, I saw Michael Jackson live and he was my favorite artist, blah, blah, and I cried during the movie because they're a real fan. You're not a fan in your 20s, bro. You didn't cry watching this movie. Now, all these Instagram reels, all these posts, and all this bullshit, y'all are doing way too much, bro. Way too much. And this is exactly why I made this video again. Y'all are not Michael Jackson fans. Y'all were not alive when he was performing. So how the fuck were you crying during the movie? So once again, this movie is gassed up way too much than it should be. It's a decent movie. It was a decent outing. I enjoyed my time watching it. I had fun watching it. But to sit there and try to, you know, say Oscar worthy praise, yeah, nah, bruh. I know, and this is once again, I know y'all haters good. Y'all are gonna say, oh, well, he trained for 2 years to perfect Michael Jackson, whatever. Yes, bro, he did. Any other actor could have done that. Any other actor could have done that. Like, and that's the thing. When it comes to Oscar-worthy performances, you got to talk about the nuances. It's not about the dancing around moments. It's not about the musical moments. That's about the sing. It's about the silent, nuanced, quiet moments where your performance really shines. Like Coleman Domingo's performance was not best when he was like screaming or whooping Michael or whatever. It was the scene in the kitchen when he was talking about, you know, when Michael fired him and stuff like that. It's the silent moments. That's when your performances really shine. Take away the dancing, take away the singing and all that bullshit from Jafar Jackson performance that any actor could have done. Any actor that would have gotten that role would have gotten training for 2 years and extensive performance rehearsals to master Michael. 100%. So that's nothing special. Anybody could have done that. I'm not saying me could have done that, but who knows? Like I said, any actor that would have gotten the role would have gone through those 2 years of training to learn how to dance and dance like Michael. And the singing, anybody would have got their voice mixed in with the audio to get themselves sound like Michael. So put that aside, okay? Let's look at the quiet moments of Jafar Jackson's performance. What can you tell me about those performances that really stood out? Now, if you want to look at an Oscar-worthy performance, let's look at Indy Navarrete in Obsession, right? Now, that's an Oscar-worthy performance, or at least damn near an Oscar-worthy performance. You look at her scene, you know, after Bear makes the wish or whatever, and they're at the car scene, the subtle moments that has you like raising an eyebrow when she's like switching back and forth between if you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. That is an Oscar worthy performance. There's nothing about Jafar Jackson's performance that couldn't have been done by anybody else. This was not an Oscar worthy performance. Don't let anybody of these, you know, Michael Jackson, you know, fans fool you into thinking so. Another thing too, and I'm gonna post this pictures all on the video so y'all can see what I'm talking about. One problem with this movie is that they try so hard to be accurate that they are inaccurate. This is a propaganda movie. It's what it is. It's a propaganda movie to make Michael Jackson look good. And they see Michael Jackson as a god. And that's a problem, once again. Look at this image right here. I'm going to post one on top and one on bottom or side by side, however I post it. But look at these two images. One has Jafar Jackson and one has the original Michael Jackson in the original Thriller picture with the zombies. If you take a look at the picture with Michael Jackson, the original, you can see that all the zombies are looking at the camera as the same as Michael Jackson. Okay, now look at the Jafar Jackson image. The Jafar Jackson image has Jafar Jackson as Michael looking at the camera, and then all the zombies are looking at Jafar Jackson as Michael, right? Why? Because they're seeing Michael Jackson as his god. They're all looking at Michael because he's the center figure. He's the one that they're putting on this pedestal. He's the god or whatever. He's the one that they're, you know, trying to make look good. In the Michael version, the original, the real version, it feels more natural, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I guess what I'm trying to say is that this movie tried too hard. Once again, a lot of people were also glazing the costume design. How did she do all this stuff and work so hard to be accurate to Michael, and yet she got so many things wrong? But my point is, this movie tried so hard in being accurate and putting Michael on the pedestal that it actually is counterintuitive and actually diminishes the movie a little bit for me. So yeah, I don't want to keep repeating the same shit over and over again. But like I said, this is a decent movie. It's a fun watch. It's already on DVD, so if you want to watch it, go watch it. It's definitely something I'll throw on, in the background if I'm doing something. But it's not something that I would want to rewatch at any point. Like I said, I've seen it like 4 or 5 times because I've gone with multiple people to watch it that hadn't watched it, but nothing to write home about. Stop letting these people glaze Jafar Jackson and glaze this movie. It's not that good, bro. I'm glad to be back. I'm gonna try to make more videos, and hopefully I can finally start being consistent. I know I say that every single video, but make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think and why you disagree with me. I know I'm gonna have all the Michael haters, in the comments probably, hopefully, but let me know what you think about it. And other than that, it's been Jordan, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Deuce.